So our original question was, how do we motivate a hyperactive child to engage and participate in schools? We sort of changed this so that it was representative of ADHD children, just because searching materials about ADHD children was both more effective in terms of quality and quantity of articles. So this meant defining what ADHD means. So it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And specifically, I'm looking at the signs and symptoms and how it's diagnosed. So diagnosis, it's carried out by a physician. Bottom line, it's got to be carried out by a physician. Its behavioral of ADHD must be observed in more than one setting in order for it to be conclusive. So, I mean, it can't be situational where the student is only ADHD or only appears to display ADHD tendencies in one setting. It's got to be in more than one situation. Parental observations and classroom observations can be taken into account, but again, it's something that is carried out, the actual diagnosis is carried out by a physician. So, some signs and symptoms. One particular article we found referenced a study where the brains of people with severe ADHD were studied, and it was found that they actually have smaller brains by about 3 to 4%. Than normal human beings, and they often have issues with the connectivity in the frontal lobe. So the frontal lobe is responsible for inhibition, concentration, impulse control, and motor activities. So you can kind of get an idea of what these students might suffer according to. Typically, students with ADHD score lower on IQ tests and have problems with their working memory. They tend to be impulsive, have a short attention span, or lock on to particular activities and get fascinated by particular activities. Students can't sit still, they're often fidgety, have poor planning skills, they're often intelligent, but have issues with literacy and numeracy, and this would stem back to their problems with working memory. There might be inconsistencies with their performance academically because they are intelligent but have particular issues. They tend to be forgetful and uncoordinated. Because of this, they also suffer from a variety of social and emotional abilities and problems. So they have trouble making and keeping friends, have difficulty with interpreting social cues and learning social skills. They have trouble controlling behaviors and emotions. And because of these issues, other children might find the ADHD children, their hyperactivity kind of annoying. So they're often shunned and bullied. As a result, they have trouble cooperating. They can be physically aggressive and may act out when upset. They may suffer from anxiety or depression or be quiet and withdrawn. Some other interesting facts about ADHD, it's not something that's outgrown. Later on in life, the hyperactivity may dwindle. However, the inattentiveness still remains. It's not an ailment of modern society, as many people, it's sort of a myth, nor is excessive TV use or video game use a contributing factor to ADHD, or junk food for that matter, and that's something that's going to get touched on later on in our presentation. It's not something that's overdiagnosed, so we get this sort of sense that, oh, everybody has ADHD these days. It's actually only about 5% of the population, so you might have one, maybe two students in your class that are actually diagnosed with ADHD. More boys are diagnosed than girls. This tends to be because girls don't necessarily demonstrate the hyperactivity side of things. However, they struggle just as much academically and socially compared to the boys that are diagnosed with ADHD, but they often get overlooked. Girls are more likely to internalize their problems and suffer from depression and anxiety.